Force is with me. I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me. So be it, Jedi.
Welcome to the GNN Cantina Happy Hour where Han always shoots first. I am your host, David. And guess what? We've got a great show. We're halfway through Andor at this point. We'll talk about that in a minute. Got a couple of programming things. We got some kind of maybe possible Star Wars related news. It's been rumored a lot, and now a lot of sources are telling us about it that speaking of Han Solo, Harrison Ford has now supposedly been cast as Thunderbolt Ross for the new Captain America movie. This is not nothing confirmed at this point. This is several different outlets are reporting this though. So just in case you happen to be surfing the internet, you look up Harrison Ford. It's not on his IMDb, but neither is Indiana Jones 5, so I'm not too worried about it. But anyway, just in case, it's really cool. Second, one interesting thing, and I'll say this again when we do our shameless self promotion. This year, for December for the holidays, I have got a Lego Star Wars advent calendar. You see this? And it's one little tiny Lego set every day from December 1st to December the 24th. So on December the 1st through December the 24th, I'll be doing a really short little live stream, and we're going to put the build together and say, hey, look what we got. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
If you're interested, if that's something you're into, it's not going to take long, 5-10 minutes. I'm just going to get on and build a Lego set and call it good. So anyway, that's what we got. Let's get into Andor. Oh, I forgot. Look at me. I forgot this. With me as always is Debbie. How are you, Debbie?
I'm good.
Good. How's life treating you?
Not so good at the moment, but that's all right.
That's okay. Also with us tonight is John Ambrose. John is one of the writers for Geek News Now. Go check out all of his work on geeknewsnow.net. You can check out all of our writers' work. They're all great. But he just happens to be here, so we'll plug him. What's up, John?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, we're good. We're good. Ready to talk about Andor. So, let me get this up. Okay, cool. So, Andor. This episode, I think this is the episode we've all really been waiting for. And this is the episode, Dave Gramillion, that is your Michael Bay episode. Bang, bang, explosion. This was the one that the kids would like because there's a lot happening here, and it happens very fast, and a lot of excitement. What were your thoughts, Debbie?
I really liked this episode. It built up a lot of tension up to the main event, and I mean, there was some. Well, I was only sad for one person. The others I really didn't care about. But
was it the lieutenant? Because he got killed before he could get on the ship.
No, I wasn't sad about him. I was sad about Nimic.
Oh,
the little kid that
that got smushed.
Yeah, I really liked him. He seemed, well, like Skeen had said, he was a true believer.
Right.
But
go ahead.
Him and Cassian seemed to connected a little more than what Cassian did with everybody else. So yeah, that was sad.
And Cassian ended up with his manifesto.
Yes.
I'm going to assume will come into play later on.
Yeah, that was a surprising end for a character. I really thought they were building up to something, and it was going to be kind of a up until it happened, it was going to be he was going to be a mainstay on the show with him, because that's what it looked like it was building up in the episode, and then that happened, and I was like, oh, like, wow, all right. So
the series, this particular episode, but the series in general, I kind of look at, and honestly, I was thinking this as I was watching the episode. I mean, it's like Solo. For me, Solo, I loved Solo. I thought I think it's one of the most underrated of the Star Wars movies.
I would agree.
But when they're doing the Kessel Run, and when they're raiding the spice mines of Kessel and all of this stuff, the buildup was so intense that you're just kind of on the edge of your seat going, oh my God, are they going to make it? Are they going to make it? And then you realize, no, that's Han Solo. He's going to be in the next movie, so I don't have to worry about it. He's going to make it. But at the same time, I'm just like, oh, and this episode was a lot like that, to where you had Andor, you had all of these guys in these situations trying to pull off this heist, and you're just sitting there going, oh God, are they going to make it? And it's like, he's in the movie. He's fine. He's going to make it. He'll be okay. No, it's still exciting. So,
well, yeah, I mean, but you didn't know what other characters were going to survive.
And that's kind of the other thing too, and especially with Solo. I looked at Solo and I was like, okay, Woody Harrelson's gonna die, the chick's gonna die, the guy Jon Favreau's alien is gonna die. They're all gonna die. Chewie and Han will be the only one that walk away from this, so I'm not worried about it. Everybody else. Kira. Well, Kira survived, but she kind of went off on her own thing. But I was just looking at it going, it was the same thing with Rogue One. I was like, you knew all those people were going to die at the end. You didn't want it to happen, but you knew it was going to, because they're not in the next movie.
Yeah.
So anyway, we finally get to the thing, the Imperial family was...
Guy was a jerk off.
Well,
he was mean to his family, his wife and his son. I'm like, God, dude.
He played his role well. You are not supposed to like him. He's the bad guy. He did.
I know, but to your own freaking family, come on. I can see being mean to the other, his insubordinates or whatever, but to your wife and to your son, I mean, like, God.
There's a running theme in this show where the husbands are not really palatable characters. It's like if you're a husband in this show, you're just not likable.
Oh, they're doing the same thing. You know what I'm talking about. They're doing the same thing with She-Hulk. All over She-Hulk, all of the men are just like jerks and putzes, and I'm like, all right,
yeah, like
we get it, men suck. I get it.
That's all she's doing. She's trolling back at the trolls.
So anyway, She-Hulk is Monday. MCU Mondays. Go watch MCU Mondays here on Geek News Now. Me and Debbie and Chris, we have a lot of fun, but we'll be talking about the season finale of She-Hulk. We'll also get that in the shameless plug, so we're good. It's all good. So we've got the Imperial family. I thought it was funny that my belt doesn't fit. I think it shrank. Maybe you expanded.
Yeah. This wasn't stored right. No, you got fat, you dummy.
Well, and see that really plays into the and too. I think about I cannot remember what it was about the Roman Empire. It was I don't remember if it was Spartacus, or I don't remember if it may have been Spartacus, not the movie, the series, where
I was gonna say Kirk Douglas.
No.
He was not fat.
No. Well, but I mean, and this has to do with the family, to where they didn't want to be where they were. They were looking to step up and go to a different, I don't want to be the Roman procurator of, Germany. There's nothing up in Germany. I want to be closer to Rome. I want to be a procurator in Italy, somewhere where I'm close to Rome, blah 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 blah. And actually, I think it was Spartacus. I think it was the series Spartacus where it was like that. But this guy's the same way. I mean, he's like, the kid. Oh, I'm sick, Daddy, and he's like, look, do you want to get off this backwater planet and get somewhere cool? We need to act the part. We need to act big toward the people. So
I think it's the way he explained how he diminished the tribe when they were on that. There's Marbles made his appearance. I think the way they diminished the tribe, where he set the bars up and everything on the way, it's like that is such an Empire thing to do.
And you know
well,
what?
and he's bragging about how they're manipulating the pilgrims, I guess is how it was on the captions. How they don't know what's going on or anything, but I think they I don't know, because the scene where they're doing the fur trading or whatever, and the big honcho guy, Jay Hold, he's telling Gorn, well, you talk to him, and he's saying something to the tribal leader, and the tribal leader says something back, and the guy asks, well, what did he say? And Gorn tells him something totally different than what the leader said.
Yeah.
And the leader understood, because he gave him a look like, that is not what I said. But he went along with it, and then he threw their fur in the fire, and I was like, oh, damn.
But you know what? Something interesting about this, and I've been questioning this through the first 5 episodes of, they said that this celestial occurrence happens, every 3 years or something along that line? 7 years. 7 years. Okay. So 7 years this happens. So I'm looking at it going, these people are underprepared. They're not ready. I mean, they're ready in a sense, but they're not ready. They're not ready to go. I'm like, why not just plan this for plan this for 7 years, and the next time 7 years rolls around and this occurrence happens, man, you're running without a hitch. Plus, you can add to your numbers, you can make things bigger, all this other stuff. But the Imperial, he said there's not even going to be one next year. He said there were 15,000 people here at one time, and then it diminished to a couple of thousand, and now we're down to 60 something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, next year it won't even happen. So, I guess, being that the lieutenant that Gorn was in on it, he knew, he was like, okay, this is going to be the last one. We got to do it. It's like now or never. So, I thought that was interesting. I liked it. I was like, oh, okay. So, they're shutting down the people's traditions.
Yeah.
Typical Empire, typical Imperials. I also was wondering, so they get into the thing, they get the doors shut behind them, and they all of a sudden just everything just kicks into high gear real fast. It's like, okay, we're going to kidnap them. They threaten the kid. They threaten the kid and the wife. I mean, and I don't mean threaten him like I'm going to shoot him, like gun to his head, threatening him. But one of the things that I was interested about and I was curious about is they got down into the vault, and there were those guys sitting around playing cards or whatever they were doing, and they busted in on them. They didn't kill any of them. I'm like, why are you not killing these guys? I mean, any one of them could sound the alarm. And then they start using them I was like, oh, well, of course, money's heavy. It's, whatever these little ingots are that they're capturing, they're going to need manpower to move this stuff. Of course, now it makes sense. They keep everybody alive and say, we're going to kill you if you don't get going. I just thought, and even the head Imperial was helping move stuff. And honestly, I was wondering what the other two, Bix and Oh, I can't think of the other one's name. I was wondering what their part was going to be in all of this, but that
Who?
was the girl, not Bix. Bix was
Vel?
yeah, the two girls
Yeah.
that were hiding
Vel
in the
and
rocks.
Senta?
Yeah, so Bix was the girl on the okay.
Yeah, Bix is his
First,
broker friend.
right. Too many characters. But yeah, I thought it was. I was like, what are they doing? What is their part in all this? Are they just watching? But no, they're actually jamming communications between the sky base and the base, I guess, for
Tower.
the tower. Yeah.
Yeah, that little scene. Well, after they've already placed the jammer, and then they're sitting there, and you got the guys waiting for the signal to go, and then I didn't understand what the hell Vel's problem was. I mean, here she's been this big, gung ho woman, and then all of a sudden she's just like hesitating, like she doesn't want to give the signal. I'm like, well, what the hell is your problem?
She's scared.
Oh,
She talks a big talk. She talks a big game, but when it comes down to it, and you're on
she's
the
a
line,
wussy.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
She was fine giving orders, but not all right playing her part. Yeah, that's pretty much what it boiled down to. She was,
Yeah,
you're
I didn't
gonna
like
do this,
that.
you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, and then oh no, I don't want to do this.
But the same, it's kind of the opposite thing of the head of corporate security. What was the lieutenant, the
Karn?
deputy, Karn? Yes, it was kind of the same thing with him, where he was all kinds of gung ho. Let's get in there and let's get it done and let's do it.
Mhm.
And oops, I overdid it. He wasn't overthinking it; he was overdoing it, and she's kind of overthinking it.
Yeah.
So,
What
Well,
I really
oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
He realized he screwed up and he was gonna have to live with his mother.
what I really liked about this episode is that it stayed centered and focused on this planet and this planet only. I mean,
we didn't
not until the very end did we
Right.
go to Luthen, and then, well, we went to Mon Mothma speaking at the Senate, and then we had Luthen at the gallery. But for the majority of the show,
you also had at the Imperial Security ISB. The girl.
Yeah, I
It was
didn't
just a real quick scene. It was like, we're not here for a meeting.
yeah.
Something's happened, and
But that was all towards the end. For the
all
main
of it was
event, the only thing that they did was focus on the heist and the tribal people. I mean, they kept going back and forth on that, and that I like that because it built up the tension.
it
I thought.
really did. And the way, I mean, the chanting that they were doing and everything, and it would like go to that chanting, and they'd be hardcore at it, and then it would jump over to this, and then it go back to the chanting again and everything. As I speak too fast, I lose my words.
Well, then you got the meteor shower coming through, which was very pretty. I liked it. Very nice.
Yeah. I
ahead.
I think it was so far one of the best episodes of the series.
Oh yeah, by far. And we got. I know it's not much, but we got to see some really cool TIE fighter stuff. You know, them getting into the fighters and taking off. That's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you like watching the TIE fighters fly around and shoot things, but now we get to see them behind the scenes kind of thing, and they're getting into them. They're not really there already. They're not already up in the air and flying, but we're prepping and we're getting ready, which is again a different side of Star Wars. This is a different type of Star Wars. This isn't the Jedis and I mean, these are the normal people of Star Wars. So
yeah, I'm really liking how they can make a good Star Wars product without having to, at least fingers crossed, we're only halfway through. Of course, knock on wood, but without having to go to the Skywalker well or the Jedi or the things they always fall back on. They're actually putting out a good. Yeah, the Filoniverse. They're actually putting out a good product without using all of those nest eggs. So I'm really happy about that.
Just kidding, Dave. By the way, we know you're watching. We love you. Can't wait for Ahsoka. You're gonna do great things. But yeah, I agree. I'm completely. The Jedi are cool and everything. The Sith is cool and everything, but every once in a while, I like a break.
Yeah.
Show me the guys in the dirt.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
The grunts.
Not the stars of the show. I like seeing the background stuff happen. So, so he got hurt. Well, let's talk about did the other girl get off the planet?
No.
Penta? No.
Yeah. So
I don't know why.
I was gonna say because I found that odd. She was in the not the tower, but like the control room or whatever, and she was kind of.
She was dressed as an
monitoring
Imperial.
things. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, they just showed her back down on the planet, and I'm like,
she was
did
dressed
she
as
not
an
want to
Imperial,
leave?
All
I don't
those
think
guys
she made
saw
it
her.
down in time.
Well, but
Either that or she wants to stay there and
but the other girl left, and
be the eyes and the ears.
I mean, I thought there was some kind of
Getting jiggy with it.
some kind of thing between the two. I mean, just based on the, okay, we're holding hands. I really want you to make it through this. Blah 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 blah. Okay, we got it. They're in a romantic relationship, so they're no. Let me take that back. We don't know if it's romantic. They're in a relationship that's deeper than we're soldiers fighting on the same side, kind of thing.
I think it was romantic because in the episode before, when Andor was eyeing her up, didn't Skeen say she's already sharing a bed, and it kind of showed her leaving Vel's cabin?
She's sharing a blanket. She's already sharing a blanket.
Yeah, and she was leaving, so it was kind of subtly nodded to or alluded to.
Yeah, it was a little less subtle in this one, but yeah, I'll agree. So anyway, if she got left on the planet, why did Vel? Why was she on the ship, and why did she leave? Because that was the big thing: is I don't want to see you get hurt, and it's like, okay, well, they want to stay together, that's fine, but she just left.
I think it showed that Vel wasn't as strong a leader as she thought she was, and she lost control of the situation.
Maybe that's why she hesitated.
She hesitated, and Andor said nuts to this and took off.
I kind of wonder because even though Luthen was kind of putting this all in motion, this whole heist thing, I don't know. And plus their conversation when he first arrived on the planet, his conversation with Vel, it seemed like there was more to them than what we're being led to be. Like maybe that's her father. Luthen is her father. And that's why he was so invested. He was constantly listening to the radio to see if, he could hear anything. And I mean, I'm just throwing that out there, theory. But
no, I'm going to say, well, maybe to some degree, but they never said how many people did it, who survived, or anything. They just said, hey, a bunch of money was stolen, and he was excited about that. His rebellion is in motion now. The rebellion in general is in motion. His cell has done what it needed to do. Whether that was his daughter or not, I mean, if it is, then he's a jerk too, because he doesn't care so long as the heist got pulled off.
There are a lot of ambiguities. There's a lot of ambiguous stuff going on in the show, and they're really leaving a lot to be unraveled over the 12 episodes, and they're keeping the cards kind of close to the vest. It looks like with a lot of what's going on. So I mean, he very well. I agree with Debbie. I think there's something going on between them, that father or uncle or something.
Maybe he wants to share a blanket with her too.
Maybe he wants to share a blanket.
Ew.
That's what I said. Come on.
Let's not go to the Game of Thrones or House of Dragons territory there.
Who's to say it's her father? Maybe it's her. Maybe he wants her as a blanket mate. Or he knows that she's the way that she is, so it's like, ooh, two at once. Woo! Two blanket mates. Sorry, Debbie.
That's all right.
Sorry. Anyway, no, I mean, yeah, maybe, I guess, but I don't know. I like I said, I'm not really seeing it right now. Hi, doggy.
Hey, doggy. Say hi, Marbles.
Nope. So anyway, now I done lost my train of thought. Luthen, daughter, no, maybe, possibly.
Luthen, daughter, blanket mates,
Blanket
blanket
mates.
mates.
Plural, blanket mates. Yes, we got that. So, okay, so now, Debbie, and I'd mentioned this, and I was going to hold it, and I'm going to say now. So you called it. You didn't like what's his name?
Skeen.
Yeah, Skeen. You said there's something about him. I don't like him.
Well,
Something
and
wrong with him.
I was saying that only because I think everything I have ever seen this guy in, he's a good actor. I'm not against the actor, but every character he plays,
It's the bad guy.
he's dirty or he's a bad guy or something. So yeah,
He's a dirtbag in everything he plays. I don't know what his name is, but yeah, he's always just
yeah. So I was just like, yeah. I mean, and he was kind of a dirtbag throughout this whole show. There was moments where he seemed kind of
There was moments
real,
where it was
but then we find out he was lying about that anyway. So
yeah. So he's a dirtbag
Ass.
again. Where he says something about it was his brother, right? He said, "Oh,
Yeah.
my brother was killed," and then he,
Mhm.
all that about my brother. Pff, no, I just wanted the money.
yeah,
I'm just a common thief.
yeah. He just was wanting to basically, oh, I forgot what the word I was going to use. Double
Agent,
double cross.
double cross.
Yeah, double cross. That was what I was thinking of. Yeah, he was just looking to double cross everybody. So
Well, 80 million. There's 80 million in there. That's 40 million a piece. That's a lot.
I mean, Cass kind of does the same thing. He's come up with his own little white lie background story. I don't know, but it doesn't come off as creepy as what Skeen did.
As
Because
far as
Cassian's not a nice guy either. So
he's not a nice guy, but he still maintains some semblance of honesty because he told him flat out, he's like, "Hey, I'm just here for the money. All I want is the money." And then even after he killed Skeen and goes in to talk to her, he's like, "I took my share. I've got my share. I'm taking the ship and I'm leaving."
and he gave the Kyber crystal back too. So
Yeah, he said, "Here, give it back to your friend. I got my share. I'm good."
he still has morals
Right.
at this point.
He's like Han Solo. He shot Skeen. He shot first with Skeen. Just saying.
I think with Cassian, it's because of his Canary background, and he had to lie about it because what was the first or second episode where his mother figure or whatever she was, and she was like, "How many people have you told about your real past?" And I think for him, he's been lying so much that's pretty much all the life he knows, but he's still honest about intentions.
Well,
But like background wise and stuff, because he's never been able to actually tell people about his actual self.
and again, it's a lot like it's honestly a lot like I mean, he's like Han Solo. He is the
Yeah.
Han Solo of the story, to where, he's kind of a bad guy, but he's got some good morals to him. Obviously he shoots Greedo first, and
Yeah.
that's the way we like it here on the Cantina Happy Hour. Han always shoots first. But anyway, he
But he's
shoots.
just not as likable as Han.
He's not as likable. Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't have
A Wookiee
the charm,
so,
charisma, or swagger of
or
Han
Fuzzy
Solo.
Co-pilot.
Well, Han also wouldn't shoot his friend in the back. Like
No,
if Chewbacca was hurt, like he did in Rogue One, if Chewbacca was hurt, Han would be like,
No.
"Oh, cops are here!" Bang.
Yeah.
Good luck, buddy. I'm out.
No, and with and see, that's kind of where, I mean, Cassian's just dark. He's so dark. He's from the DC universe.
And,
I don't
like,
have
that was,
I don't have the Deadpool
I was gonna
clip.
say, do you
I'm
have
sorry,
the
Chris.
clip?
I don't have the
Play the
Deadpool
clip.
clip.
that was but that was my problem with Rogue One, is that he was just a bad guy on the right side of the fight, and there was not really much about him.
Well, and actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because that really, I looked at I watched Rogue One the other day after having we started this Cassian thing, and one of the lines that he says to Jen, when Jen comes out and they say no, they don't want to fight, they're going to run, they'd rather run and hide, and blah 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 blah, and he comes up with all of these guys, and he's like, look, ain't none of us proud of what we've done. We've done some bad things in the past, we've killed, we've murdered, but we're ready to go fight. And it's really kind of fleshing that line out with him, as far as, let's see how many bad things we can do, but still kind of keep him a good guy. He's very much an anti-hero within Star Wars.
Mhm.
Yeah, even more so than Han Solo.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
No, Han Solo, like Debbie said, he's lovable.
Han Solo was kind of on the hero's journey, and
Right.
Cassian doesn't seem like he's on the hero's journey. It just seems like
Cassian's on the. I think Cassian's on the hero's journey, because at this point we're into, it's something I don't want. I don't want to do it, but I'm forced into it, and once I'm forced into it, then I just go along for the ride, kind of thing. So there are elements here of the hero's journey, but it's not as cut and dry as Luke Skywalker was.
yeah,
So
it's a little bit more muddy.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's there. There are elements there. If you watch the show and you look at it and you say, "Oh, okay, I see what's going on here." Like was the third episode where he's talking to now I can't think of his name. There's too many characters. That's the only
There's so
only
many
complaint I
characters.
have with this. But where he says, don't you want to go fight these guys? Fight them for a
Luthen.
different.
Oh,
Luthen.
he's talking to Luthen. Yeah,
Yeah, and Luthen's telling him, "Hey, look, we can go fight these guys on a different level. We can do it a different way, and really, really rub it into him." And he's like, "No, I don't want any part of it." And he's like, "Well, okay, here, take this kyber crystal. Let's go. We're gonna go meet this chick, and you'll see. You'll see." So he's kind of forced into it. Plus, let's face it, he had people looking for him. He had the corporate security looking for him, and he knew
Gambler.
that, I think.
and he
He
owed
had-
people money.
Yeah, he was
Mhm.
hip deep in debt, and
he's still trying to find his sister.
yeah, exactly.
I
mean, there's
assume they're going to get back to that story sometime soon.
Karn has to come back up too.
Oh yeah, he'll come back up.
I think Karn's mother should go after Andor.
now something.
You got my boy fired. You cost
It's
him
you.
his career.
But we haven't had any flashbacks either, and really, there's a whole lot of his childhood story that hasn't been fleshed out. I mean, he was kidnapped by Mrs. Dursley there, and and so he was kidnapped by her, and then all of a sudden he's Cassian Andor, and then there's no time filling. What was he doing with her? What were they doing? How did he learn English? I was honestly expecting maybe 2 to 3 flashbacks per episode, and really we got like the first episode. I think it was just the first episode where we've had a bunch of flashbacks.
First couple episodes. Well, I don't think they want to make the mistake that they did with
Boba Fett.
because even though I liked some of the flashbacks, it's just like they went a little overboard because it was like, yeah, I want to know the backstory, but we don't have to keep going back and back and back.
They didn't need with Book of Boba Fett. They didn't need the flashbacks to the backstory. They just should have told the backstory.
Yeah.
And then they could do Book 2 of Boba Fett, or Book of Boba Fett Volume 2. And then now he's wanting to take over Jabba's crime lab and all this other stuff. So
I think he'll show up on Mando. We'll see.
Probably.
Season 3 coming up.
I know this Tamura Morrison. Tamura? Is that how you pronounce it?
Tamura Morrison.
Tamura. I know he wasn't happy with how Book of Boba Fett turned out. He wasn't happy with the character, and so I don't know if they do a season 2, how much input he's actually going to give. Because in a lot of articles, he was just saying like, "This guy's talking too much. This isn't Boba Fett. This isn't the like."
Yeah, he wants to get back to the badass. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
The Clint Eastwood Man with No Name,
which I kind of thought on the last the finale of Book of Boba Fett, he kind of said, this isn't for me, what we're doing here. And so that's why I kind of thought, well, if we do get a season 2, which I haven't heard any announcements about that, maybe that's the way they will go, where, okay, he's had enough of this, trying to find a family, whatever storyline that they were going for. And him and Fennec will get back to doing what they do best, which is why I think they'll show up in Mando.
Well, that was my theory on why there were some episodes that were pretty much episodes of The Mandalorian in that show. I think behind the scenes they were saying, this show is it's not being received well, and
so
we need to
do something
retool.
to save it.
And we need to retool. So just put a couple of Mandalorian episodes in there, and we got to figure out what to do to fix this show.
Okay, Grant Dawson's in the chat. Hi, Grant. How are you? Hey, good people. Made it. How are y'all? All of y'all? We're good. Andor's rocking it, turning Scotland into imperial claimed land. So we Scots, in case you don't know, Grant's in Scotland. So we Scots are the Aldani. Cool. I'm jealous. That's all I gotta say is I'm jealous because you live in an area where they have filmed Star Wars movies.
Yeah, how come Tunisia and Scotland get Star Wars?
Well, okay. To be fair, I don't remember the name of the woods in the San Francisco area, the redwood forests. Where
that was Andor.
But also, to be fair, San Francisco is still a long way from Texas. So I have not made it out there, and that's, I don't know, bucket list maybe. Sure, go see Andor. Why not? Anyway, so we had Andor, and he did his. We talked about skiing and him being a putz. The lieutenant. Okay, so I want to look at the lieutenant. So he was killed before he made it to the ship. And I'm wondering, was this one of those things to where if he knew he might have to sacrifice himself and he was willing to do that, because he even said to the procurator or whatever, he was like, oh, you're gonna hang for this, and he says, I've been hanging for 7 years or however long it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he was like, okay, if I have to self-sacrifice here, then I will, to complete the mission. If he was in it strictly for the mission, and a lot of that stems from he had I don't, it wasn't his wife, it was his girlfriend or whatever. He had somebody that he was in love with there on the planet, and that's why he didn't get promoted and do any of that other stuff. So if it was one of those things where I've got nothing left to live for, so if this works and I can self-sacrifice, then great, and if not, well, I'm $80 million richer.
Yeah, because him and the former stormtrooper went down fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to ask because at first I thought, because she asked where Terramin was, and they showed the body on the floor, and I thought, well, wait a minute, I thought that was Gorn. So I was kind of confused. I was like, did only one die? Did both of them die? Or
I think
I didn't
Gorn
know if I
died
had
off
missed
screen.
something.
Or at least I missed the scene where he died. I want to say he died off screen. But Terramin was clearly laying there when they were taken off.
Now there was a little bit, I don't know if y'all caught it, because we have been talking about Rogue One. But there was a little Rogue One connection. And I don't know if you guys caught it. Evidently not. Okay.
Enlighten us. And
okay,
and
so
then we can say, oh, cool. No, I'm going to go back and watch it now.
I mean, it's nothing fantastic, but when I heard it, I was just like, aw, because it brought back memories. But anyways, so they're trying to escape the eye, and Nimik, the guy who had gotten injured, and he had his little Polaroid camera.
Right.
And he was going, climb, which is also what K2SO said to Cassian. Cassian and Jin.
Jin.
Yes, when they were in the tower. And yeah, he said that right after he got shot. That's what he said. And I was just like, aw. I just thought that was sad. It was like twice that's happened to him now.
That's a cameo we need to see K2SO.
And I think that'll be second season.
Second season?
I think we'll see how he gets K2SO. And
are they going to do the second season? Because Diego Luna said this is the last time he's playing Andor.
No, I've already said this.
Yeah, there's 2 seasons.
Oh, okay. So I guess after the second season, he'll hang it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is a crying shame because he's great, but his character died too, so it's like, well, you can't. We're gonna have a prequel to the prequel that comes before the prequels.
It's
gonna have a prequel to the prequel to the prequel that comes before the prequels.
It's a prequel to the prequel that's a sequel to the prequels.
Right, but it comes before the prequels.
And it comes before the prequels.
And runs the same time as Rebels.
This is Rebels. This is what I wanted to see with Rebels. But and I think too, and we've discussed this before, I think too because this is more adult oriented than, Rebels was all well and good, but at the end of the day it's an animated cartoon show that was on Disney XD, and it was made for kids. It was made enough for kids to where kids would be involved in it, knowing full well that the adults were going to be involved with it too. It covered a wide spectrum, and now we have an adults only Star Wars. I'm ready for a rated R Star Wars movie, I think now.
I'd love to see that, because as much as people dunk on Kathleen Kennedy, we have to forget there is somewhere in there is the person that gave us a lot of great movies that we watched throughout the 80s and 90s.
Honestly, it's amazing.
Like I'm hoping that she can get back to form because I don't think this is actually her. I think it's Disney, and because once Disney gets control of Lucasfilm, you can call yourselves Lucasfilm all you want. You're Disney, and I think that's a lot of where that comes from. Because a lot of it, when she says things, it's like that's not you. Come on, man. You gave us Goonies.
Shoot, Goonies, E.T.
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
All 4 or 5 of the Indiana Jones movies.
I think she had some Spielberg projects. I think she's attached to Gremlins. So she's got like her hand in a lot of classic movies.
I think Back to the Future too. I think she had a part of that as well. I may be wrong on that, and correct me if I am. But, I
wouldn't be surprised.
There are movies where you can sit down and you watch it and it goes, "Oh my God, Kathleen Kennedy was the executive." I think it was Goonies that I was watching. That was like, I forgot she produced this one. Forrest Gump. I think she had a hand in Forrest Gump too.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking some big. I mean,
Roger Rabbit. I think she had her hand in.
No little B movies that were direct to DVD. I mean, you're talking some blockbusters.
So I give her that she kind of lost her way, but I'm hoping that she can get back to form and start, putting like this is a perfect example of what she can do when she makes the right decision.
Jurassic Park.
Oh, are you looking
Jurassic
it up?
Park, yep.
Oh yeah, Jurassic Park.
Oh, one of my favorite movies called Always. Richard Dreyfuss
and John Goodman. Yes.
Yes.
That's a weird combination. Richard Dreyfuss and John Goodman. That's like another version of twins.
BFG, War of the Worlds.
Yeah, that's a Tom Cruise movie. We don't care about those.
Schindler's List. Batteries Not Included. Hook.
Yeah, she's worked a lot with Spielberg.
Yeah. Batteries Not Included. I love that movie.
Poltergeist.
Oh, of course.
Twister, Signs. Back to the Future.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, I got it right.
I didn't even know that, and that's my favorite movie. I feel, wow. I didn't know.
Well, I mean, I don't watch the credits, so.
Yeah, true.
Maybe it was Back to the Future I was watching. I said, oh, okay. She had her hand in this one, too. She knows what she's doing. She can make a good movie. So
yeah. So as much as people like to dunk on her, it's kind of like sometimes I'm like, oh, leave her alone. She's given us a lot.
Yeah. Well, we haven't liked the last 3 Star Wars movies.
But, it's like, well, who's tying her hands? Because it seemed like Iger was pretty behind her. So, in this other guy, Bob, what's his face?
Chapek.
Yeah, which is embarrassing because he's from Indiana. Or he graduated from IU, I guess I should say. But
I don't think it's necessarily Iger or Chapek. I think with a company like Disney, I think with George Lucas he would have like a collective brain trust, and they would see what works, and it would be more collaborative. And I think with Disney, it's like you have the whiteboard and bullet points, and you have to meet the bullet points, and it's like, this is what we have to do. Whereas George Lucas was a lot more loose, and he let the creativity flow. And it would be like, you get, and that's why you can tell when George Lucas made the movies. It was like it had a natural flow to it.
I'm wondering too if it's not the CEO of Disney. It's not
stakeholders.
It's just Disney. That's really what it boiled. Not necessarily the CEO is not the one saying, Kathleen, you can't do this. It's just Disney in general. Disney's the empire. That's Disney what it is.
And it's some clown with a whiteboard and bullet points. And it's like, you can't do that anymore. We have to do it this way. Yeah. And you can't do that anymore. And you can tell because the last 3 movies were so rigid and so just not fun. They weren't fun. Even the prequels, which I obviously didn't like as much as the original trilogy, there was an element of fun to them, and as inferior as they were still fun movies. they were still fun to watch. You didn't have a bad time
Don't
watching.
do that, Debbie. You saw Attack of the Clones.
Well,
I like Attack of the Clones. I'm sorry.
aside from Attack of the Clones. Well, it's no less.
40% of Attack of the Clones was good. The other 60 was a hot mess.
It's part of the only thing that was cringy in that movie was the dialogue.
Oh no!
Along with
It's a big
Anakin's
part.
Anakin's pervy stare was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Anakin had that pervy stare on lock, and that was kind of
He was really good at it. Hayden Christensen was amazing at that stare.
like he looked like he belonged in Revenge of the Nerds.
well, he could stare at me like that. I wouldn't.
Oh,
care.
yeah.
I love Hayden.
Hayden, we know you're watching too, so we love you, man.
And Ewan, I love Ewan.
Well, Hayden
and
and Ewan are
Harrison.
watching together, so we're good. So, Debbie, did we cover everything? Did we hit all your bullet points in your notes?
Yes, I believe so.
Wow. I like that these episodes are like an hour long. I love. Well, not quite an hour, but
Well, they're
if they
about
had-
55 minutes.
if they had commercials, they would be an hour long.
Mhm.
with the exception of episode 5, which was very dialogue driven. The episodes seemed to fly by. Episode 5 was necessary because you needed to push the plot forward and get to know some of these people.
Right.
But it kind of had a different pace into it than the other episodes because you were like, wow, this is a lot of talking. This is a lot of talking and marching. Am I watching a Lord of the Rings show or am I watching?
Walking and walking. We need the
Frodo.
eagles.
Christ, the trees even walked in that movie.
All right, Kevin Smith down there. I saw that movie too. Debbie, shameless plugs. Do we have any shameless plugs? Do you have any shameless plugs?
MCU Monday, discussing the season finale of She-Hulk, which was great. I really
Sure.
liked it.
Whatever.
Now,
The show wrapped up. The show wrapped up nicely.
Eh,
It did.
love the intro.
Yeah.
I love the
There were actually parts of this one that made me laugh. So, all right.
The Kevin thing was funny.
It was hilarious. I liked
Yeah.
it.
So MCU Mondays, that happens at 8:30 Central Time, Monday nights, right here on the Geek News Now, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all the other, all our other platforms. John, shameless plugs?
As always, you can catch me on Twitch at Ambrose_is_geeky. I try to stream nightly. I'm in talks with you and Dave Gramillion about doing a Tuesday night show. So hopefully when I get my camera, we can put something together on that. We don't know exactly what we're going to do, but I think it's going to be a little bit more well-rounded and not focusing on one thing, maybe like a weekly news show or something that's a little bit different than the Gauntlet. And as always, you can catch me on the site. It's been delayed a couple of times. I've had some snags in writing, but hopefully, fingers crossed, tomorrow I will be publishing my long-awaited piece on House of the Dragon. So I have a lot to say about that. And
Good.
hopefully I'll be able to push it out. But with a piece like that, with a show that good, I want to get the article just right. So I'm making sure that it's up to snuff for the site. So that's why it hasn't been published yet.
Absolutely. And that's on geeknewsnow.net. Also, you can check out, we have, besides MCU Mondays, we have the Geek Gauntlet, which
Saturday nights
at 10 Eastern, so 9 Central. And then we have Captain's Logs and Lightsabers. I believe they're back up and running as far as podcast goes. We have Captain's Logs and Lightsabers.
Geek and I.
Geek and I podcast with John Biscardi. John's been on the show several times. I think he's out camping.
Yeah, you can find all of those podcasts on Podbean, Apple, Amazon, and Spotify.
My shameless plug, tomorrow I'll be at the Dallas Fan Fest. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great time. I'll be there with another one of our writers. So we're going to just be covering it, taking pictures. I'm going to try and do a couple of live streams. We'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So looking forward to having a good time there. And then starting December 1st, like I said, I'm going to do my Lego thing. So come check that out. It'll just be if I miss a day, because life happens sometimes. But if I miss a day, I'll just do 2 builds on the next day.
Yeah.
We'll get it done. Don't worry about
My wife got the Harry Potter advent calendar last year. They're a lot of fun.
it. They are very, very. I've gotten the advent calendar every year since they started making them. So I think 2012 was the first one. Anyway, so that's it for us tonight. We will see you all again next Thursday night. We'll be discussing Andor episode 7. Cannot wait. But until then, may the force be with you all, and we will see you next week.